What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Business and Biceps. And you better wake your ass up, because on today's show, we're going to talk about something that everyone fights, even us, and we battle through it every day, and we're going to help you battle through it each day and let you know that when you win, there's some blessings and potentially some moolah on the other side. John Fosco. What's going on, Johnny? Welcome to the show. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great today, and here's what's kind of interesting. I really don't know what we're going to talk about, so this is going to be a freestyle conversation. I am I'm very interested to hear you elaborate. But I want to toss something off you to see if you agree with me before we get into the deep stuff. Is that fair?
Here we go.
Is that fair?
Is that fair? Okay, cool. It's very fair. What you got?
All right. So I had an incident. About, let's call it 2 weeks ago. I felt very disrespected. I'm going to tell you about it. So, So I'm pulling into my garage, which is like call it a 25-degree angle downward into a garage. And there's like a semi-traffic jam. And there's absolutely no reason there should be a traffic jam in my garage, because there's a clear way to get into your parking spot, and there's another lane for people exiting to leave the garage. But there was like 7 cars in a row, and one of them refused to move. And I got out of my car because I was waiting for like fucking a minute, and it was this woman, and I said, like, fucking move, like fucking get your car out of the way. There's 7 people waiting, and you're just sitting here with your fucking brakes on. Go pull into fucking an empty parking spot. Get out of the fucking way so we all can move. And she told me no. And after she told me no, I was like, whoa, what do you mean like no? Like, are we all supposed to wait on you? And she's like, I'm not fucking moving. So obviously it's a woman. Yeah, listen. And so I control myself. I get back in my car and I'm like, dude, I can't fucking believe this. So long story short, I had to wait like 2 minutes to move my car, and so did everyone else. And since that day, I've been paying very close attention to something. I've been paying very close attention to the skills of male drivers versus the skills of female drivers. And I listen to me right now. You know, what we do here on this show is we talk about topics that need to be talked about. And we also tell the truth here, don't we? Isn't that what we do? We tell the truth. And I am, after my, let's call it a 2-week case study on the road while in my vehicle, I'm convinced that women drive at an efficiency rate of like 32% of men. Like I'm convinced.
You're going to get fucking blasted.
No, listen to me right now. I'm convinced that women are absolutely afraid of the road, which makes them indecisive, and it makes them, in general, terrible drivers. And terrible drivers are a danger to the road. And just in general, I think this topic needs to be talked about, because I literally think it's true. I think women are terrible drivers. I want to know your opinion. I think they're awful.
I think I should call my friend Danica Patrick and have her call in to go ahead and just weigh out.
She's a professional. Okay, you just made a great point. For every Danica Patrick, how many fucking Kyle Bushes are there? How many men are in NASCAR versus how many women? My fucking point exactly. What are we at, like 0.02%?
All right,
they can't handle the wheel, bro.
I will speak from my own
keep your ball sack. Keep your ball sack on this one. Let's go.
No. Here's what it is. All right, so my sister, I'll talk about women that I know that I'm around that drive, right? I'm not just give general. I'm going to say from my own. My sister ran over the neighbor's clothesline in high school. Boom. Okay, that was her. That was one of my first. And she's
check
not
the box.
She doesn't really like to drive a whole bunch. She has some anxiety based around it from some wrecks that she wasn't actually driving in the wrecks, but that is she's had some issues driving.
She took part.
My mom, on the other hand, is a really good driver, and Rachel's a really good driver. So I would say, like, hey, sorry, Bettina, that I'm shouting you out that you're not that good of a driver. She's going to be pissed probably. But I would say 2 out of 3 women in my life are pretty. Those are family members.
You've had a lot of experience on the road, Cory, driving with women on the road. What's that experience been like? Do you truly think women are as decisive behind the fucking wheel as men? Because at the end of the day, people say you got to be a defensive. No, you just have to be decisive. If you're going to speed up, fucking speed up. Don't speed up, slow down. Speed up, slow down. No, be decisive. Do you think women are as decisive behind the wheel as men?
I don't know if I've ever really thought about that statement before.
Oh, God.
You know what I do know, though, is you're a fucking maniac driver. I do know that.
No. What I am is I saw you brake
check an old woman in a parking garage.
Well, no, it was not an old woman. It may have been a woman that I thought was a man. That's her problem, not mine. You know, she could blame her parents for that. Those fucking genetics. I thought it was a man. But either way, there was no collision. There was no collision there. She or it or Pat or whatever you want to fucking call it was up on me. And I fucking brake checked her. There was no collision. It was a decisive move. Everything came out okay.
It was a very decisive move.
It was a decisive move, dude. Have you ever seen me do a 3-point turn?
No, I'm saying.
No, I only need 1 second to do it. That's why you've never seen it.
Yeah.
Takes me 1 second. In traffic,
I've seen you do some amazing parking too, John. So I'll give you a very decisive driver.
Yeah,
very decisive.
Parallel
drive
parking,
very fast.
Parallel parking unparalleled.
Drive very fast, but very decisive.
I have a lead foot.
Great top. How many? Okay.
Yeah.
Last question. How many tickets has John Fosco speeding tickets got in his life? Rough estimate.
Speeding.
Is it over or under 10?
Speeding is a result of decisive driving.
Oh!
Sometimes when people are putting you in danger, you need to drive more aggressively. And it's not my fault if I'm protecting my kinfolk who are in the car. So
over or under 10, John?
Of what? Speeding tickets?
Speeding tickets, yeah. In your lifetime.
In my lifetime? Well, in my lifetime, I've been very decisive, so I'd have to say over. But it's
over 10, I knew it.
Of decisiveness.
So good.
That was a decision, Cory. It wasn't an accident.
I love it.
It was decisive.
Yeah, I felt like I was working on a betting line, but I knew which one to bet on that one.
A lot of decisiveness here.
All right. Well, the feedback will continue, John. I guarantee that with this topic, it'll be amazing.
Hey, for all you lady listeners, I think you're great people. I appreciate you listening. I think you're a valued member of our listening base. You're talented people. You're smart people. You just got to be a little more decisive behind the wheel. And if somebody comes fucking out of their car and says, "Hey, can you move?" and there's an open parking spot, fucking, have some courtesy. Have some courtesy.
Hey, so one of the topics I wanted to bring up, like you said, we're kind of freestyling a little bit, was, I went back and forth online with some people and I talked to some of the guys at the gym, and a lot of people,
hang out in chat rooms, right? That's the online chatter you're talking about?
I don't even know what that is. Direct message though.
Okay,
gotcha. I don't even think these people even know what chat rooms are, Johnny. That shit was
you
from
used to kick it. In AOL days, you used to go into the fucking at home alone chat room and stuff.
I'm not sure what that is, but I'm glad you referenced it.
Yeah.
But I think it's sometimes there's kind of a thought process around people that.
What was your screen name? Like Ab Guy 41?
No, I think I've had the same. It's always been my name plus whatever my business was. Gotcha. It's always been the same. So I think there's a lot of people that think most guys that have had any type of success, or gals that have any type of success, that it's that they don't have things that they have to work through like maybe these people do. And what I'm saying is a lot of people try to say, oh, well, I've got this and this. John probably doesn't have that, or Cory doesn't have that he has to work through every day. And that's why it's easier, so-called, for them to reach X and I can't get there. It's like they come up with all these excuses. And what I think would be interesting is, John, if we could be a little bit vulnerable to our community here and say like, hey, this is shit that we fight against just to get to the norm, to be able to try to live our dream and go out and start these businesses and do all these things, and let everyone know that like there's a process, and it's taken years and fighting through, you know, the way we grew up and things that have happened to us, and let everybody know that this is like normal for everybody. Everybody wakes up, right, with the exact same amount of time, and they all have their own fucking issues, and everybody's got something going on that they're either not talking about or that they have talked about, but everybody's walking around with some shit that they're battling, bro. And that is just a fact. To me, I don't know what your thought is on that, but I think that there's a lot of people that just say like, oh, well, those guys got it easy or this got beat. But no, dude, everybody has some shit that they've got to fucking work through. And that's part of the process of discovery, right? To even go out and have a chance to even go win at what you like to do. So I just think that's an interesting topic. And I don't know, maybe we can kind of just lob back and forth and kind of go through some things that, you know, checklists that we go through trying to make this work out here.
I just think like I was like hear things, I take them in kind of sequential order, and a big problem with, let's say, someone who is thinking like this is to assume that you know what other people are going through. If you just I want people to kind of slow down and to literally think about assuming that you know what someone else is going through, simply judging them by how they act in public. Do you know how stupid that is? Like, just think about yourself, right? Like all the shit you got in your life and how you act in public. We all put on a fucking costume, if you will, to live a public life. That's why there's a public life and a private life. So to live in a world or to operate where you make assumptions about what's going on in people's life based on their behavior makes you fucking stupid. So I think step one is don't even think about other people. Like it's hard enough to figure out our own shit, our own life, get on track. Why spend any time thinking about other people? I think it's a sickness, this comparison, it's so toxic, because thinking about other people is never going to help you. Thinking about you and getting through your issues is going to help you. So it's like, dude, I mean, if people want to draw parallels, if that's kind of where we're going, it's like, dude, man, every fucking day, with the life, just speaking for myself, that I've chosen, dude, there's questions every day. Am I doing the right thing? Because everyone can look at owning businesses or entrepreneurship as glorious. You don't have anybody to look to. There's no one in your business that's done it before you. You are the leader. So every day you don't know if the decision you're making is correct. And you have to deal with that every day, and you have to run it through a filter. And dude, you're going to be wrong. You're going to be right. But just the feeling, the pressure, the stress that can potentially come from, I don't know if I'm making the right decision, is like fucking, it's like a boulder on your back if you let it be. See that this is where I think the juice is, right? The juice is like, if you let it be, because like, if that's the life you've chosen, if you're in it, people just have to let things be and let things play out, and not try to predict outcomes, and not try to get ahead of themselves, and not try to compare it to a situation that happened a month ago. They have to let it be. And when they step forward and when they make a decision, they have to just do it with some confidence, and they have to do it with some rationale. So I think people who are struggling, comparing themselves to people, first, stop comparing yourself to someone. And then two, start working on yourself, and know that there's nothing that's easy, and nothing's supposed to be easy.
Some mic drop shit all over the place there, Johnny. Hey, a couple things I want to pinpoint. The assumption by just the look test of somebody's situation is fucking stupid. Agreed. 1,000,000%. And people do it all the time, right?
It's
they
ignorant.
do it all. Yeah, it's ignorant. And it's literally taking yourself in the opposite direction of really where you aspire to be. That is step one of going off the path. No question. Because you're worried and assuming someone else got it easier than you.
Oh, and you're not focusing on yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, and I'm sure you can agree with this, as you unravel the shit that's like blueprinted from your childhood, from the people that molded you, good, bad, or indifferent, like as you unravel those things and deal with them, which honestly, this podcast has helped me. I never been to therapy before. This podcast was like therapy for me since Johnny and I've started it. I can't tell you how much it's helped me to just talk through things and think of things I haven't brought up in so many years, you know, that have came out and provoking like, you know, good conversation here and trying to get better. It's like, as you unravel those things, that's part of the process. So if you're really projecting or worried about how someone else got it better than you, like John said, you're not digging in to really pinpoint the stuff of what's holding you back. Because we all have these limiting factors to some degree from our past that we have to work through. I mean, John's talked about it on the podcast multiple times, how he had an anger problem when he was younger. And there was times where that limited his success. And until John got past that or learned how to deal with it, then he wouldn't have been where he is now. There's a ton of things that I've had to do from that standpoint too. Like, you know, not asserting and asking questions and being like, just letting everything roll all the time. And not like, there's things that I had to get better at, or I couldn't progress because I kept getting taken advantage of. Like you have to fight against some of the things that are very natural. Like straight up, like my old man was like always just kind of sitting around. He never really engaged with us as kids. Like, and that is, and I hate to admit it, but is a natural thing for me. It's more natural for me to want to be like 1960s and sit on the couch, which I know is going to sound crazy because of how nuts I am, but it's really because I've pushed myself to be this way. Like it's more natural for me not to do those things with my kids than it is to do them. I've had to work on it multiple times that when my son says, "Hey dad, can we go do this?" for me to always say yes, if it obviously makes sense, and not be like no first. Because when I would say no, there was no reason why it was a no. Like if I'm doing something business or I got something going on, that's different. But if I'm sitting on the couch watching a game for 5 seconds and he says, "Hey, can we go throw the football?" My old man used to say, "Oh, I'm watching a game." I say, "No, I'd love to throw the football." Even if internally the blueprint says to me, "I want to watch the game," because that's a selfish answer, right? And that's what he did to me. And so those are things that when I say like that's more of a personal thing, but I wanted to bring it up to let people know that those are things, if you're mindful of them though, and they can cross over, you have to fight them to progress. If I don't change that small thing, I don't progress the fathership that's been shown in my family, because then I just created the same thing again. The same upset feeling, the same, you know, kind of non-existent type of. So it's like, these are the things I'm talking about that you have to battle daily that could be blueprinted inside of you, or that society's pushing at you right now. And I just think being mindful of that shit is how you grow and get better, you know?
I think we have a problem in general with the acceptance of excuses. So I'll give you an example. So whether it's a friend, family member, or it's yourself saying, "Okay, yeah, my friend, he's like this because his dad was a drug addict and his mom committed suicide. So here's the deal. Those are two horrible things. But guess what? That's the hand you were dealt. And fucking, I cannot tell you how many people hold themselves hostage because they can say the same fucking line their whole life. My dad was a drug addict. My mom committed suicide. That is their explanation for their being. That is their explanation for their lack of motivation. That is their explanation for fucking people over. That is their explanation for lying. Like, I think everyone needs to fucking buck up and say, whatever happened to me, that is the score. That is the hand I was fucking dealt. we have to stop with giving people crutches. We have to stop saying, well, you know what? You know, his mom died of cancer. Well, you know what? I can find 50 million other people whose moms died of cancer, and it is an awful fucking thing, but life goes on. Life goes on. What are you going to do? You're just going to keep grabbing these things that were traumatic in your life, and you're going to freeze yourself in time, bro. You're going to freeze yourself in that period of time, and you're going to let the worst period of your life define you? Think about how self-defeating that is. You take the worst thing in your life, the worst, not the best, not the middle, the worst, and you let it define you. And the problem is people's support systems, their family, their brother, their mother, their friends, they use it too. Well, you got to take it easy on Jimmy because Jimmy's wife got in a car wreck and died. Okay. It's sad. Next. Jimmy's still got to live life. So am I helping him as a friend if I make an excuse for Jimmy every fucking day because his wife died in a car wreck? Even though, no, what I'm doing is I'm supporting his little cocoon of nothingness. I'm giving him a reason to continue to do nothing.
Mm-hmm. I think, Johnny, people allow situations to hold them hostage, and that becomes their crutch. I couldn't agree with you. Think about yourself. You could have easily been like, especially when you was wound up with those pills and stuff, how easy would it have been to just use, you know what? I was abused.
That's what I did use.
That happened. You know what I'm saying? And you could have never allowed yourself to really see what John Fosco is capable of, which is amazing, by the way. And all these businesses that you've done, all these creative ideas, all the money that you've produced through your skill set, you would have never saw it.
No, I wouldn't.
Because you would have held yourself hostage because a person that you can't pick to be your dad did what he did. Or because of a situation, like, you can't listen to me, everybody. It would have been so easy for me to say, I just grew up with nothing. The task of trying to change a situation is just too much. And I'm just going to settle for this, for the same system, stay in the same cycle. And no one's going to fucking blame me. My little cocoon of people around there still was going to love me. They ain't going to look at me any different. But then what happens? Then it just keeps fucking going. And then because you never allowed yourself the chance, then you live with regret. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. That's what starts to happen. At some point in your life, you realize, oh shit, the time clock's really up. And I never really got to see what I was capable of because somebody else's situation or some other type of set of events held me fucking hostage from what I was actually meant to do. I was so fucking like anti that when I grew up. I was like, I am not going to let this situation ever hold me back from attempting to live my best life and what I fucking want and what I want to change. Like, that is like, you guys got to wake the fuck up out here. And quit assuming, quit looking at everyone else, look inside, work on the shit inside that's holding you hostage. What are you battling through? Like, get fucking through it. Once you get through it, there's a fucking seed of equivalent value of positivity on that other side that could just allow you to be free. It's holding you up right now.
Nothing's going to work. Here's what I believe. Nothing is going to work long term unless you dig in to yourself and eliminate this excuse machine that is, oh, this happened to me. Oh, I did this. Like, nothing is going to work. Your career, you're going to hit a point where the habits that are associated with that skeleton in your closet that you refuse to deal with, you're going to get to a point where it's like smashing into a wall because the level of your career and your little personality quirks smash because you haven't worked out your shit. In a relationship, it's going to be built on someone not knowing the real you. How could someone know the real you if you're not even willing to explore what's inside of you and deal with your feelings? So relationships explode. Everything of value explodes until you buck the fuck up and look inside and then deal with it. But the problem is so many people, I have a lot of them in my family, I have a lot of them fucking friends. So many people just, they're deathly afraid to shine the fucking spotlight on their issues, because guess what? When you do that, you feel pain. You feel pain. And there's a great thing. There's a beautiful thing about feeling pain, because when you feel it, that is the beginning of getting through it. But if you fucking hide from pain because you're a fucking pussy and you're afraid to live your life, if you hide from pain because pain hurts, the pain will control you. You will be nothing but a puppet. Dude, I see it all the time. And it's very easy to pinpoint. So if you think you're going to get by in life without dealing with your pain, like it's a guaranteed fail. It's a guaranteed fail.
You can only ascend to a certain level, don't you think, John? It literally is going to limit you.
Well, you're partially living a fake life. You're partially living a fake life. You're representing yourself as like the most freeing thing about, I think, being a person is like being comfortable letting people know exactly who you are, and like not being afraid. Like that, you feel a lot like what do I have to hide? Like, what do I have to hide? I don't think women are good drivers. I'm not going to hide that. People might tell me to fuck off, whatever. No, I'm serious though. Like, I don't care. I'm not trying to maliciously hurt anybody. So it's like when you can operate like in a free space, and obviously that was lighter hearted. You're just like, it feels so good. And I've done it the other way. I've done it where I try to protect this image that people have of me, and I got to live up to the image that people have of me. So then my behavior starts becoming like more about this other image than actually myself. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm living a joke. How can I be effective if I'm living a joke? That's not long term, bro. That's short term. Eventually you're going to get sniffed the fuck out.
Oh, yeah, because what happens is John Fosco walks in a room and he thinks, the fuck is this joker? I ain't trying to work with this guy. He ain't getting my business. I'm not trying to do anything with, you know what I'm saying? Like people that are confident that are in this business, which is like a state of flow, like you said, John, like you got to be okay understanding that you're making decisions. There's no fucking handbook, and that you have to go with analytics, intuition, whatever it is at that point, or a little bit of both. And that you have to be okay with, as the outcome unfolds, I know that I can handle it because of I've been working on all of these things for so long that I can think clearly, try to act sharp, use my resources, like have.
And it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. So many people, they fear being wrong. Oh my God. Dude, do you think you're going to go through your whole fucking life and just be right? I mean, do you? But so many people love to be right. And it's just a reflection of your ego and how fragile and weak you are. I'm telling you, the most brilliant people in the world want to listen to people who don't have 1/1,000,000th of what they have, so they can maybe learn something. They don't need the feeling of I'm right. They don't need that, because all that is an ego jerk off. I'm right. What does I'm right get you in life? I'm right. Oh, I feel good. No, it's about the acquisition of knowledge. Come on, man. That's
why I think like I had a client that told me like real early on in my personal training career, he's like, man, he goes, the most powerful word is help. You're around people that you want to learn from. Man, can you help me understand this? Man, can you teach me? Can you help me this? Like, and I still use that constantly when I, and people, they get a little bit uncomfortable, which is interesting because they don't expect it. So, I mean, when I ask for help from someone that I guess in theory is like not on the same status of business or whatever, they're like all weirded out. I'm like, well, no, you know more about this than I do. So why wouldn't I want help from you? But coming back to your ego thing, like people, feel like at a certain point that there's these barriers where at the end of the day, like you can learn something off literally anyone at all ages. I pick up stuff randomly from all kinds of interesting people and they don't even know it. I'm always trying to pay attention and observe. And I just think like that open-mindedness and really, John, that you're talking about shining the flashlight, like that right there, because what happens is instead of people shining the flashlight to try to work on those things that can unravel and make them better people and more effective and more confident, because when you know yourself more, I think you're a way more confident person, right? When you're comfortable in your own skin, you just really don't give a fuck near as much. That is a true fact. Like, and I think that when people do that and they really get a comfortability with themselves, it opens up, you talk about floodgates of money, happiness, whatever you're after, and all of like, it just opens up a lot of that stuff because you're just,
it opens up your the potential,
you know, yeah,
because you're being you're being yourself. It's like, here, everyone think about being in a big room of people, and then there's like 9 out of 10 of them look the same, dress the same, listen to the same music, and then there's one who's fucking unique. And like, you can just feel their energy. Like, who do you want to talk to? You want to talk to the person who's not a goddamn lemming. Like I want to talk to the dude or the gal who is just like fine standing on their own 2 feet, saying like, hey, I don't know what you do, but here's how I do it. And this is why I do it. I love this. And they don't care whether you, not in a respectful way, they don't care whether you like it or not, whether you agree or not. All they're doing is unapologetically being themselves. That is attractive.
No question. And that's, you know, what's interesting is I've always been drawn to talk to people that are outlandish looking to some degree, as long as it wasn't like a sideshow type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always find myself talking to a pretty girl that has purple hair. Like, to me, for some reason, I'm like, this chick walked out the house today and thought, like, this looks fucking good. I'm pulling it off like 100%. Like, to me, that's interesting. Or just a person that has their own fucking style and is unapologetic for it. Like, that to me shows that individuality I've always drawn to. One other thing I want to bring up, John, is back to your point about shining the light, is think about personal development, which is what I believe Business and Biceps is, right? Yeah. You're right now choosing to listen to John and I. Instead of, and it is entertaining at times, especially the beginning of this, but instead of listening to, instead of listening to your, you know, a comedian, or instead of listening to the sports show or whatever it is, you're choosing to listen to something that you know is going to dig up in there a little bit. And I got to tell you that when people start to dig in where shit starts to get painful, they choose to entertain themselves based off work other than working on themselves. Like, I feel like they go the other direction. So like, when you get in your car and you choose to listen to this over choosing to listen to the box scores last night, there's a dramatic difference in your life when you choose this, of course, Business and Biceps or any material like this over top of entertainment. There is a value in your life for entertainment. John loves music. I love music, sports, all those things. I get it. But it cannot suck up a high amount of your time, because there's no time then to work on this stuff that can make you literally a better person. And I think that you have to be very mindful of entertainment/development time. And I think that when people start to feel like, oh, well, they said something that, let me turn on and listen to something from the game, you go right to entertainment because it's mindless.
That's where,
right?
It's a good point, because that's where, okay, so if you're listening to Business and Biceps and something is said that makes you go, oh, I want to go watch the game. That thing, whatever that thing was that was said, that's exactly what you need to hear. And the reason you know you need to hear it is because something made you so uncomfortable that you had to change what you were doing and focus on something else. That right there, if people are looking for a fucking treasure map of where their problems are, if that happens to you, that's exactly where you need to look. So force yourself back into that point and say, why do I not want to hear this? And then, bro, the pieces of the puzzle will start coming together.
that's one of the ways I think to identify really anything, right? Most people, it's whether it's a lagging body part, if we talk about lifting weights, like a guy's really shitty at bench press, he wants to do fucking legs all the time, or he wants to do back all the time, or if he's, you know what I'm saying? Like people dodge shit they're not good at. And when you hear something that makes you uncomfortable, research it a little bit more. Don't just mindlessly go somewhere else. And I think that, look, all these things aren't easy to do. Like, especially when you're fucking like big, fucking strong, mean looking fucking tough guy like John Fosco. And he's talking about fucking like, you know, feelings and digging in there and talking about, you know, like, dude, none of this shit's easy. None of this shit is easy, but you only limit yourself if you don't take yourself there. Right, John? I mean, you have to, or you're going to be stuck in
these
mud.
are like our tools of the trade, right? So if people want to be like, hey, I'm a businessman, you know, all the self-development shit, I don't know about that, you know, but I'm a businessman. Okay, well, you go be a businessman, and other people will be businessmen and women too, but they'll also develop themselves. And when they meet you in a boardroom or anywhere, they're going to fucking annihilate you because they have developed their mind and they've developed their skill set. You want to just develop your skill set, and then you want to fuck with someone who's developed their skill set and their mind, you're a dead man walking. You're a fucking dead man walking. And the only reason you didn't fucking go and dig into yourself is because you're scared. You're scared. And when you're scared, you get beat. And when you get beat, you don't get to where you want to go. These are facts, my friends. Like, these are fucking facts.
Johnny, how many times have you looked a motherfucker in the eye in that situation and just knew it?
Oh, it's like I will eat you. There's nothing there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do that listen, you may be better than me at something, you may be smarter, but you will not wear me down. You will not wear me out, because you can't. You can't. Because I've developed my mind to a certain level where I guarantee you I can, even if you are more skilled or this and that, I can wear you out. So that's why I laugh and I welcome challenges. And I think that's part of loving this game, because there are little challenges everywhere. There's little chess moves everywhere. But if you're the guy or the gal that says, oh, I go to school, I fucking went to Princeton, I don't need to do this self-development fucking voodoo shit, I just need to fucking develop my skill set, you will get mentally fucked in your asshole, and it will hurt, just like in prison.
It couldn't be more true, because I've said this so many times. There's so many trainers in the U.S. that have way more credentials and, you know, more experience and all these.
There's not many that are sitting at a table with a gold chalice in a robe, though.
Yeah. Yes. No, I mean, that's all from Cole, but yes.
Yeah.
Hey, originally I had Drake's hair too, but we swapped it.
Okay.
It looked a little weird.
Very nice.
But at the end of the day, Johnny, it's like I knew from in my own way, like what you just talked about, as I would come up in competition against certain people, I could see it in their eye that they hadn't went where I had went, and they hadn't persevered, or they hadn't done these things, and that I knew I had them. I knew it, right? I knew I was going to fucking win, and I continue to win, and people still go, how's this motherfucking winning? I know how I'm winning. That's why I keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and until motherfuckers will dig in there and not have that.
I want to ask you something. I want to ask you something. So do you think, and a lot of people, and I think it's an effective tool, do you think people actually look and say, how's this motherfucker winning? Or do you think you use that as a motivational tool to keep yourself motivated?
I think it's a combo.
Gotcha.
I think it's a combo, because I think that, and look, this is a great thing to bring up, because we've talked about this before, where you manufacture those things to keep yourself motivated.
Correct.
And so, yeah, maybe people don't look at me that way. You know what? Yeah. Maybe they don't, John. I've always had the underdog, undersized, non-steroid user, obviously kind of whole background, to where maybe I've just manufactured that in my head to such a degree that I think, yeah, motherfucker, I just keep winning because you just keep wondering. And I know, and maybe that's
I mean, whatever works.
Thickness.
Yeah. I mean, that's, that's why I asked the question, because
I've had chatter of more like his way doesn't work, or I'm not sure why people follow that. And there is chatter about the way that I do things. So maybe that's fed into it. Is it as extreme as I probably make it in my head? Probably not, but that's what keeps me motivated. I think that I always think when I get up that somebody wants my spot, and that there's somebody that fucking wants the spot. And I think, well, fuck it. I'm not giving it up. It's mine, motherfucker. And I want the next guy's spot. So I think that all those things kind of play into the craziness that we have going on in our head, John. For sure.
No, yeah, no.
I mean, you have stuff like that probably too, right?
Absolutely.
What's one of your things that you say to yourself like that you're not sure, is it reality or not reality? You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what that statement that you brought up is.
Yeah.
Maybe real, maybe it's not real.
I just think that everybody thinks that, and I almost like it, but again, this could be me feeding myself misinformation.
Yeah.
I think that everyone looks at me and underestimates me from a business knowledge standpoint, because I don't dress up, let's say, to my credential level, right? Because I do know myself, and I roll how I want to roll. So what's interesting is, when you get around people with, the suit and tie life, I think they think I'm some fucking punk who, used to be a gang member or something, who's got a fucking tattoo on my fucking hand and just doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And that motivates the shit out of me, because like my ego wants me to be like, oh, okay, that's like I'll bankroll you, bitch. But but at the end of the day, what it motivates me to do is just continually do the best I can every day to try to succeed at the highest level, because I don't care if people are watching, but when I feel that from someone, it just motivates me. And it's not like, oh, come watch me. It's like, all right, well, I'm beating you now. You don't know it because you're too fucking stupid. And I looked at you and I didn't even think about what you were capable of. I'm just here doing me. You know what I'm saying? So
I think that, and I've always felt that same way because of the being a guy that's in fitness too. Like, you're always assumed. So I have this same kind of underestimated kind of things that play in my head with people, because I mean, 9 times out of 10, once people actually, that even I know well, that I don't think they underestimate, because they just don't even know half the shit that me and you've done is even possible, John. They can't even conceptualize it. And then when they find out shit, they're like, holy fuck, like, you're doing that? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what we do with all these years and skill sets and these type of things. And people flip out, sometimes in a negative way, sometimes not negative way, either way. But that underestimating underdog feeling, I've had that played in my head for so long that I don't even know if I know how to live any other way but that. And it's driven me also to a point of a crazy level to just keep never like let up on the work. And so I'm kind of glad I got cursed with that to some degree, I guess, but it's there for sure. Very similar.
And I would say to people who feel that, I need to put on the suit, I'm going to let everyone know. Like, if you feel like you need to dress up to let people know, then you're not doing something good enough. You're just not doing something good enough if you fucking need to fucking play the role, bro. Like if you got to play the role, you're not fucking getting it done. Because when you're doing real shit, it's not acting. It's not fucking fictitious. It's real life. It's fucking get your hands dirty. It's fucking work hard. So I think just a lot of people think, oh, once I'm at this point, I got to dress it up. Dress it up for what? For what? Dude?
Actually, I went the opposite way. I dressed it down more. I was like, well, fuck it. I can do whatever I want. I'm wearing a fucking hoodie cut off today. Fuck everybody. Right. And camo pants.
Exactly what I want. I'm going to wear exactly what I want to wear, and I will operate at whatever fucking level I will operate at, and no one will tell me anything otherwise. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Isn't that statement right there, John? Is that not probably the unbelievable freedom of our life that we've all wanted. Like that statement that you just said, like, motherfucker, look, obviously we have multiple businesses together and we're respectful of times and making sure we do what we need to do to keep, but having the freedom and then eventually the money to truly have your life be yours is what entrepreneurship is really about. That's where, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think it's a huge perk.
Huge part of it.
Yeah, I think it's a huge. I mean, at the end of the day, the one thing that resonates, you know, Frank Sinatra said it best in the song, "I did it my way." I think that's the feeling, right? When you literally can live in this world of rules, structure, and all these fucking, you know, it feels like you have to have a fucking permit to wipe your ass nowadays. So when you can live in that world and literally do it your way at all times, it's yeah, sure. I'm sure there's ego involved in there, but it's a good feeling. You know what I'm saying? And if you're not out to hurt anyone or disrespect anyone, and you just want to do it your way, and you earn it, that's the key. You got to earn it. It's rewarding, man. It's rewarding because people look at you and they don't understand you, but guess what? You get to a point where you realize that, hey, they don't have to understand me. They don't have to understand me, and that's okay. And I think once you stop seeking approval and stop seeking people to understand you, then you're free, and then you operate at your highest capacity.
I think I like the fact that people really don't understand me. They just really don't. Like traditional 9-to-5 bachelor's degree folks that I'm around do not understand even a percentage of what I got going on. And I actually like that because then it's like, there's less conversation around it. It's like almost like a phantom. And I don't know if that like freedom statement's really ego based, John. I think it's the thing that most entrepreneurs aspire to. And then when you reach it, it's really like a goal of lifestyle. So I don't know if that's like a, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it's different stroke for different folks, right? I think we all have different goals. Like when I think of like being an entrepreneur, I can only speak for myself. The first thing that drives that thought or drives that behavior is wanting to create something. It's not wanting to live free. I think a huge perk of it is living free. And you know what's interesting? I was talking to someone about this the other day. See, this is where I think the ego definitely enters in, is when you have success and when you can do it your way and you can live your way. There's this feeling, I'm sure you felt it, maybe you haven't, I know I have, that like when I'm having a conversation with people who have nothing to do with my business interests, just that almost in the back of my head, that my opinion should be sought out more and it should be valued higher than other people. And then I like catch myself and I'm like, no, man, but I like, that's one thing I've noticed that I've developed, that I think my opinion is more valuable, let's say, in any setting than other people, maybe because I've accomplished more. But the fact of the matter is, and the truth is, it's not. And I think that's where doing it your way, I think the lines get blurred there. I don't know if you felt that before, but I have.
Yeah, I think that's you know what, I've felt it in my own way, where it's like the thing that you said was backed up by so much more than they probably realized. And then it was discounted, like, because they didn't understand. Like, so if you had a opinion about, you're talking to somebody and you had opinion about something that isn't really opinion, is pretty much a fact in your head because you've seen it analytically 100 times. But they don't know that because they don't really know you that well. And then they just discount it and roll to one that's like not, you know what I'm saying? Then I'd be like, then my ego would be hurt, like, motherfucker, did you hear what I just said?
But that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. But it's not it's not other people's jobs to know what we know. So it's almost hard to have, okay, so here, it's hard to be with like your family or friends when you're used to making decisions and what you say goes, right? Because
Yes.
it's the most informed decision, and that's the structure of how you do business. Now, when you're with family and friends, what you say doesn't go. What you say doesn't go. So it is an interesting thing, and you have to realize it in the moment, or else shit gets fucked up real quick.
That is the hierarchy change is tricky to deal with. Like
Yes,
when mom
yes.
says what goes, and you're like, "Ma, that ain't right," but you can't really step to her like that.
Yeah, no, I've had my mom check me like, I've been on this fucking earth like 35 years longer than you, so just why don't you listen for a second? And I'm like, oh,
so
okay.
good.
Yeah.
Your mom's amazing. Shout out to your mom. She's awesome.
Yes.
Sarah Fosco. Love it.
Yes.
All right. I think we wrap it up, John. I think that was, man, great conversation, dude. I'm really glad we talked about that. Hopefully it really helps our listeners kind of work through stuff that's really there to let them, really realize the dreams and these aspirations that they have, and don't shy away and entertain themselves. I just think there's some great takeaways, and thanks for sharing some of those, like, personal stuff, man. I think that's important that we show that here, because then it lets people know, motherfucker, we're just people battling shit just like y'all are. No different.
Everybody is, and I'll end saying this. I used to remember like thinking, oh, I came up with a rough background. The hand I was dealt wasn't good, and then I would look at like other families and be like, oh man, they got everything all together. And then like in due time, I found out the people that looked like everything was perfect were probably more fucked up than the situation I was in. So the point is like, never judge a book by its cover, whether it's a person or a family or anything. Just allow yourself to work on yourself and stop comparing yourself to people and other, structures. It's a losing proposition every time.
Amazing. Great way to wrap it up. All right. Johnny Fosco.
G.
Can the podcast be stopped?
The podcast can't be stopped.